Lisa Martinez wiped the grease from her hands with a dirty cloth as she walked through the busy halls of Denver International Spaceport. Her work shift had ended 15 minutes ago, but she was still thinking about the broken engine she had fixed. The hover bus that would take her back to the city center would leave in 20 minutes. She needed to hurry. The spaceport was always crowded at this time of day. People from all over Earth came through Denver to catch ships going to the moon, colonies, or the mining stations near Mars. Lisa had worked here for 2 years, fixing the small transport ships that carried passengers between Earth and space. It was not the job she wanted, but it paid for her engineering classes at the community college. Lisa pulled her old luggage case behind her as she walked. The case was black with silver corners, and it had seen better days. One wheel was broken, so it made a clicking sound every time it rolled. She had bought it at a secondhand store when she first came to Denver. It held everything she owned, her tools, her textbooks, and the few clothes she could afford. As she hurried toward the hover bus station, Lisa did not notice the man watching her from across the terminal. Alexander Kane stood near a coffee shop, dressed in an expensive suit that most people at the spaceport could not afford. He was 28 years old, but his eyes looked older. They were the eyes of someone who had seen too much and carried too many secrets. Alex was waiting for his private ship to be fueled. He had just returned from a secret meeting with government officials on the moon. The meeting had not gone well. The alien ships that had been spotted at the edge of the solar system were moving closer. Earth's leaders were scared, and they had good reason to be. The aliens called themselves the Consortium, and they had already taken over 12 other worlds. Alex's luggage case sat on the floor beside him. It looked exactly like hundreds of other cases in the terminal, black with silver corners. But this case was different. Inside were the plans for Earth's only hope against the aliens. The defense grid he had designed could protect the planet, but only if someone could solve the power problems that his best scientists could not fix. The case also contained something else that made Alex nervous. Hidden in a secret compartment were files about his real work. Most people knew him as a rich businessman who made computer programs. They did not know that he also worked for the government, building weapons to fight aliens. They did not know that he was one of the few people on Earth who understood how dangerous the consortium really was. Lisa checked her watch as she reached the escalator that led down to the hover bus station. She was cutting it close, but she would make it. As she stepped onto the moving stairs, her case caught on something. She tugged it free and kept walking, not realizing that she had grabbed the wrong case from beside a nearby pillar. Alex was reading news reports on his tablet when he noticed his case was gone. He looked around the coffee shop area, then walked to where he had left it. Another case sat in its place, one that looked identical to his own, but was clearly older and more worn. His heart began to beat faster. The plans inside his case could not fall into the wrong hands. If the aliens got them, they would know exactly how to defeat Earth's defenses. He picked up the case that had been left behind and opened it. Inside were engineering textbooks, some basic tools, and work clothes that smelled like engine oil. There was also a student identification card. The photo showed a young woman with dark hair and serious eyes. Her name was Lisa Martinez, and she was studying advanced propulsion engineering at Denver Community College. Alex closed the case and looked around the terminal. The girl was nowhere to be seen. He pulled out his phone and called his head of security. Within minutes, his people were checking the spaceport security cameras. They found footage of Lisa taking his case and tracked her path through the terminal. Instead of sending his security team to get the case back, Alex made a decision that surprised even himself. He would go after the girl personally. Something about the way she moved through the terminal had caught his attention. She walked like someone who understood machines, someone who could fix things that others could not. Her hands had been dirty with honest work, and her eyes had the same serious look he had seen in his best engineers. Alex watched the security footage again. When Lisa had bent down to free her case from whatever it had caught on, she had moved, with the kind of precision that came from years of working with delicate machinery. Most people would have just yanked the case free, probably breaking whatever was in their way. Lisa had been careful, even though she was in a hurry. There was something else in the footage that interested him. When Lisa had walked past a group of arguing passengers, she had glanced at the broken information display they were complaining about. In that brief moment, Alex could see her analyzing the problem. Her eyes had moved across the display in a pattern he recognized, the way a real engineer looked at a system to understand how it worked and what was wrong with it. Alex made another call, this time to have his ship's departure delayed. He told his pilot that he had urgent business in the city and would not be leaving Denver that night. His security team had already traced Lisa's address. She lived in the industrial district in one of the old apartment buildings that housed workers from the spaceport and nearby factories. As Alex left the spaceport in his private car, he thought about the risk he was taking. The defense grid plans were too important to leave in the wrong hands for even one night, but something told him that Lisa Martinez might be exactly the person he needed to help solve the problems that had been keeping his scientists awake at night. The car drove through the busy streets of Denver as the sun set behind the mountains. Alex looked out at the city where millions of people lived their normal lives, not knowing that alien ships were moving closer every day. Soon, everything would change. The question was whether humanity would be ready when that change came. In her small apartment across the city, Lisa was about to discover that her life was going to change too. She had no idea that the case she had accidentally taken contained secrets that could save or doom the entire human race. Lisa climbed the 3 flights of stairs to her apartment, pulling the heavy case behind her. The building was old and the elevator had been broken for months. She did not mind the climb anymore. After working 12-hour shifts at the spaceport, her legs were used to being tired. Her apartment was small but clean. It had one room that served as both bedroom and living area, a tiny kitchen, and a bathroom with a shower that only worked half the time. The rent was cheap, which was all that mattered to Lisa. Every credit she could save went toward her engineering courses and books. Lisa set the case down on her small table and opened her refrigerator. She had some leftover noodles from yesterday and a bottle of water. It was not much of a dinner, but it would do. She heated the noodles in her old microwave and sat down to eat while she looked through her mail. There was a bill for her classes next semester and a letter from her mother, back in New Mexico. Her mother still hoped Lisa would give up her dream of becoming an engineer and come home to help run the family restaurant. Lisa loved her mother, but she could not give up now. She was too close to finishing her degree. After dinner, Lisa decided to organize her tools and review her homework for tomorrow's class. She pulled the case closer and pressed the latches to open it. The case opened with a soft click, but what she saw inside made her drop her fork. Instead of her worn tools and textbooks, the case contained equipment she had never seen before. Smooth metal devices sat in custom foam padding. Small screens glowed with soft blue light. Everything looked expensive and advanced, like something from the private labs she had heard about but never seen. Lisa stared at the contents for a long moment. This was not her case. She had taken someone else's luggage by mistake. Her first thought was to close the case and take it back to the spaceport in the morning. But curiosity got the better of her. What kind of equipment was this? She carefully lifted one of the devices. It was lighter than it looked and warm to the touch. As soon as her fingers made contact, the small screen lit up brighter. Text appeared, but not in any language she recognized at first. Then the words shifted and changed, becoming English. Quantum Shield Generator, Prototype 7, appeared on the screen. Below that were numbers and symbols that made Lisa's heart beat faster. These were engineering specifications, but for technology far beyond anything she had studied in school. Lisa set the device down carefully and picked up another one. This screen showed what looked like a spaceship, but not like the simple transport ship she worked on every day. This ship was sleek and powerful, covered with armor and weapons. The plans showed every detail, from the engine systems to the life support. As Lisa looked at more devices, she began to understand what she had found. These were military plans for defending Earth against attack. The ships, the shields, the weapons, they were all designed to fight someone. But who? One device showed star maps with red dots marking locations throughout the galaxy. Each red dot had a name beside it. Fallen world. Consortium control. Lisa counted them. 12 worlds marked in red. 12 planets that had been taken over by someone called the Consortium. Lisa felt cold as she realized what this meant. Earth was at war, or soon would be. The public did not know about it yet, but someone was preparing for a fight. The technology in this case was humanity's attempt to build weapons that could protect them. She picked up a device that showed shield designs. The mathematics were complex, but Lisa could follow most of it. She had always been good with numbers and physics. As she studied the equations, she began to see problems with the design. The power requirements were too high. The shield would use so much energy that it would drain a ship's engines in minutes. No ship could maintain these shields for long enough to win a real battle. Whoever designed this was brilliant, but they had missed something important. Lisa found a pencil and a piece of paper. She started working through the equations, looking for ways to make the shields more efficient. It was like solving a puzzle, and Lisa had always loved puzzles. As she worked, she forgot about everything else: her tired body, her small apartment, her empty refrigerator. Hours passed without Lisa noticing. She filled page after page with calculations. Slowly, she began to see a solution. If the shields used a different kind of power source, one that drew energy from space itself instead of the ship's engines, they could run much longer. The mathematics were complex, but they worked. Lisa was so focused on her work that she did not notice the man watching her from across the street. Alex had been standing in the shadows for 2 hours, looking up at her lighted window. He could see her sitting at her table, bent over papers and the contents of his case. At first, Alex had been worried that Lisa might be a spy or a thief. But as he watched her work, he realized something amazing was happening. She was not just looking at his designs, she was improving them. Her movements were quick and sure as she wrote equations and drew diagrams. This was not someone trying to copy secrets to sell them. This was an engineer solving problems. Alex pulled out a small pair of binoculars and focused on Lisa's window. He could see some of her calculations on the paper scattered around her table. Even from this distance, he could tell that her math was correct. She had found the weakness in his shield design and was working on a solution. His phone buzzed with a message from his head of security. "Target located, ready to recover the case. Orders?" Alex looked up at Lisa's window again. She was still working, completely absorbed in the problem. He typed back, "Stand down, monitor only. Do not approach." Alex had spent 2 years and millions of credits trying to solve the power problem with his shield design. His best scientists had failed to find an answer. Now this young woman, working alone in a tiny apartment with nothing but paper and pencil, was close to a breakthrough. As the night grew later, Lisa finally looked up from her work. Her eyes were tired, but they were also excited. She had found the answer. The shield could work, but it needed a completely different approach to power generation. Instead of drawing energy from the ship, it could draw energy from the quantum field that existed everywhere in space. Lisa gathered her papers and looked at the case full of advanced technology. Tomorrow she would have to return it to whoever had lost it. But tonight she had solved one of the hardest engineering problems she had ever seen. She felt proud and scared at the same time. If these plans were real, if Earth really was in danger, then her solution might help save millions of lives. Outside, Alex finally left his watching spot and walked back to his car. He had seen enough to know that Lisa Martinez was special. She was exactly what his project needed. Now he had to figure out how to approach her without revealing too much too soon. The fate of humanity might depend on getting this right. Lisa woke up the next morning with her head still full of equations. She had dreamed about energy fields and quantum shields all night. The case with the strange technology sat on her table where she had left it, looking ordinary in the morning light. But Lisa knew it was anything but ordinary. She got ready for work quickly, eating a piece of toast while she gathered her real tools. Her shift at the spaceport started in 1 hour. She would have to figure out how to return the case after work. But first, she wanted to check her calculations one more time. Lisa looked at the papers covered with her handwriting. The math still looked correct. She had found a way to make the shield system work better. Part of her wanted to keep working on the problem, but she knew the case did not belong to her. Someone was probably looking for it. At the spaceport, Lisa tried to focus on her work, but her mind kept drifting back to the shield designs. She was fixing a small transport ship when her supervisor, Pete Williams, came over to check on her progress. "You seem distracted today," Pete said. He was a good boss who had taught Lisa much of what she knew about spacecraft repair. "Everything okay?" "Just thinking about a problem I am trying to solve," Lisa said. She could not tell Pete about the case, but she trusted his engineering knowledge. "Pete, have you ever heard of quantum field energy extraction?" Pete raised an eyebrow. "That is pretty advanced stuff. Not something we use on these little ships. Why do you ask?" "I read about it in one of my textbooks. I was wondering if it could be used to power ship systems." "In theory, maybe," Pete said. "But the technology does not exist yet, at least not that I know of. The power requirements to start the extraction process would be huge. You would need some kind of bootstrap system." Lisa nodded, but her mind was already working. A bootstrap system, that was the missing piece. The shield would need a small conventional power source to start the quantum extraction, then it could sustain itself. She made a mental note to work on this idea later. The day passed slowly. Lisa kept checking her watch, eager to get back to her apartment and the case. When her shift finally ended, she hurried to catch the hover bus back to the city. As Lisa walked up the stairs to her apartment, she noticed a man sitting in the lobby reading a newspaper. He was well-dressed but not flashy, with kind eyes and brown hair. She had never seen him in the building before. Most of the people who lived here worked at the spaceport or nearby factories. The man looked up as Lisa passed. "Excuse me," he said with a friendly smile. "I am looking for apartment 3B. Do you know if anyone lives there?" "That apartment has been empty for months," Lisa said. "Are you thinking of renting it?" "Maybe," the man said. "I am Andy Carter. I work in engineering consulting. I heard this building is affordable for people in technical jobs." "It is cheap," Lisa agreed. "I am Lisa Martinez. I live in 3A, right next door to the empty apartment." "Nice to meet you, Lisa. What kind of engineering do you do?" "I fix spacecraft at the spaceport, but I am studying to be a design engineer. I want to work on better propulsion systems someday." Andy's eyes lit up with interest. "That sounds fascinating. I work on energy systems myself. Maybe we could talk about engineering sometime. I am always interested in meeting other people who love solving technical problems." Lisa smiled. It was rare to meet someone who understood her passion for engineering. Most people thought it was strange for a young woman to want to work with machines. "I would like that. I am actually working on an interesting problem right now. Maybe you could help me think through it." "I would be happy to try," Andy said. "I have some time now if you want to discuss it." Lisa hesitated. She could not show Andy the case or the military plans inside it, but maybe she could describe the power problem without revealing too much. "Come up to my apartment. I can show you some calculations I've been working on." Andy followed Lisa upstairs to her small apartment. She quickly moved the case into her bedroom and closed the door. Then she gathered the papers with her shield power calculations and brought them to the living area. "I am working on a theoretical problem," Lisa said as they sat at her small table. "Imagine you wanted to power a large defensive system in space. Something that would need a lot of energy but could not carry a huge power source. How would you do it?" Andy studied Lisa's calculations carefully. His expression grew more serious as he read through her work. "This is very advanced mathematics," he said. "Where did you learn about quantum field theory?" "I study it in my free time," Lisa said. "I know it is beyond what I need for my regular classes, but I find it interesting." "Your approach here is brilliant," Andy said, pointing to one of her equations. "You are talking about drawing power directly from space itself, but the bootstrap problem is significant. You would need a way to start the process." Lisa felt excited. Andy understood her work and was not talking down to her like some men did when she discussed engineering. "I thought about that too." "What?" If you used a small fusion cell to start the extraction, then disconnected it once the system was self-sustaining. Andy stared at her for a long moment. That might actually work. Have you tested these calculations? I do not have access to the equipment I would need for testing, Lisa said. This is all theoretical. What inspired this particular problem? Andy asked. It is very specific. Lisa felt her cheeks get warm. She had to be careful not to reveal too much. I saw some science fiction movies about space battles. I started wondering how real defensive systems would work. It became a puzzle I wanted to solve. Andy nodded, but Lisa noticed he was watching her carefully. There was something in his eyes that made her think he knew more than he was saying. But before she could think about it more, he started asking technical questions about her calculations. They talked for 2 hours. Andy seemed to know as much about advanced physics as Lisa's college professors. He suggested improvements to her equations and pointed out problems she had not considered, but he also seemed impressed by her solutions. You have a natural talent for this kind of work, Andy said as he prepared to leave. Have you thought about applying for advanced programs? There are government research projects that could use someone with your skills. I would love to work on important projects, Lisa said, but I need to finish my basic degree first. And those kinds of jobs probably require connections I do not have. You might be surprised, Andy said. Sometimes the best opportunities come from unexpected places. After Andy left, Lisa sat alone in her apartment thinking about their conversation. He had been helpful and friendly, but something felt strange about the meeting. How had he known so much about her specific area of research? And why had he seemed so interested in her theoretical problem? Lisa looked toward her bedroom where the case was hidden. Tomorrow she would have to figure out how to return it. But tonight, she wanted to incorporate Andy's suggestions into her calculations. If she was right, she might have solved one of the hardest problems in defensive engineering. What she did not know was that Andy Carter was actually Alexander Kane, and he had just confirmed that Lisa Martinez was exactly what his project needed. Now he had to figure out how to recruit her without revealing the truth too soon. Lisa had been working with Andy for 3 weeks. He visited her apartment almost every evening, and they would spend hours discussing engineering problems and solutions. Lisa enjoyed these conversations more than anything else in her life. Andy understood her ideas and treated her like an equal, not like a student who still had much to learn. But Lisa was starting to notice strange things about her new friend. His clothes were expensive, though he tried to dress simply. His watch was worth more than Lisa made in 6 months. When they talked about engineering, he knew details about classified military projects that should not be public knowledge. Most puzzling of all, Andy never seemed to go to work. He claimed to be an engineering consultant, but Lisa never saw him leave for meetings or talk on business calls. He was always available when she wanted to discuss their projects. Lisa had also noticed that Andy was very interested in her shield power calculations. He asked detailed questions about every aspect of her work. Sometimes Lisa felt like he was testing her knowledge rather than just having friendly conversations. The case with the advanced technology still sat in Lisa's bedroom. She had meant to return it many times, but she kept finding excuses to delay. The truth was that she loved studying the designs inside. With Andy's help, she had solved most of the power problems, and even improved some of the weapon systems. On a Thursday evening, Lisa was working late at the spaceport when Pete came running into the repair bay. His face was pale and his hands were shaking. "Lisa, you need to see this," Pete said, turning on the wall screen that showed news broadcasts. "Something big is happening." The news reporter was talking in a serious voice. Behind her was a picture of space with small dots of light moving across the darkness. Government sources confirm that alien spacecraft have been detected at the edge of our solar system. Military officials are calling an emergency meeting with world leaders. Lisa felt her stomach drop. The red dots on the star maps in the case suddenly made sense. The consortium was real, and they were coming to Earth. "How long have they known about this?" Lisa asked. "That is what everyone is asking," Pete said. "But look at this part." The reporter continued. "Sources say that Earth has been preparing defensive measures for several years. Advanced shield and weapon systems have been developed in secret. However, our sources also report that these systems have significant technical problems that have not been solved. Lisa's hands began to shake. The shield systems with technical problems, she had been working on those exact problems for weeks. The case she had taken by mistake contained Earth's defense plans, and she had been helping to fix them without knowing it. "I have to go," Lisa said, grabbing her tools and running from the repair bay. Lisa caught the next hover bus back to the city, her mind racing. Andy had been asking her about shield power systems for weeks. He knew too much about classified projects. The expensive clothes, the flexible schedule, the detailed knowledge of military technology. It all made sense now. Andy was not Andy Carter, engineering consultant. He was someone involved in Earth's defense project, and he had been using her to solve problems his real engineers could not fix. Lisa felt angry and betrayed, but also scared. If the aliens were really coming, and if her work could help save Earth, then this was bigger than her hurt feelings. She needed to confront Andy and find out the truth. When Lisa reached her apartment building, she found Andy waiting in the lobby as usual. But this time, he was not alone. 3 people in dark suits stood with him, and they all looked serious. "Lisa," Andy said, standing up when he saw her, "we need to talk." "I know who you really are," Lisa said, her voice shaking with anger. "I saw the news. You have been lying to me for weeks." Andy nodded sadly. "You are right. My real name is Alexander Kane. I work for the government on the defense project. And yes, I have been lying to you. But I had good reasons." One of the people in suits stepped forward. She was a woman with gray hair and kind but serious eyes. "Miss Martinez, I am Director Susan Walsh from the Department of Planetary Defense. We need your help." "My help?" Lisa said. "I am just a student. I fix small transport ships." "You are much more than that," Director Walsh said. "In 3 weeks, you have solved problems that our best scientists could not fix in 2 years. Your improvements to the shield system could save millions of lives." Alex stepped closer to Lisa. "I am sorry I lied to you. But when I saw your work that first night, I knew you were special. I needed to find out if you could really help us, but I could not tell you the truth right away. The project is too secret." "You watched me that first night?" Lisa asked, feeling violated. "I had to get my case back," Alex said. "It contained classified information, but when I saw you working on the designs, improving them, I realized you might be our only hope." Director Walsh opened a tablet and showed Lisa a video. It showed space near Jupiter, where small alien ships were moving in formation. "These are advanced scouts," she said. "Our intelligence says the main consortium fleet will arrive in 7 days. We have been building a defense grid, but it has the power problems you identified. Without your solutions, we cannot stop them." Lisa looked at the alien ships on the screen. They were sleek and dangerous looking, unlike anything humans had built. The reality of the situation hit her like a physical blow. Earth was about to be invaded, and her work might be the only thing standing between humanity and conquest. "Why? Should I trust you now?" Lisa asked Alex. "You lied to me about everything." "Because I love you," Alex said quietly. The people in suits looked surprised, but Alex continued. "I started this because I needed your help with the shields. But over these weeks, getting to know you, seeing your brilliant mind and your passion for solving problems, I fell in love with who you are. Not just your engineering skills, but you." Lisa felt tears in her eyes. Part of her wanted to forgive Alex immediately. She had felt a connection with him too, had enjoyed their time together more than anything else in her life. But the betrayal still hurt. Director Walsh cleared her throat. "Miss Martinez, I understand this is difficult, but we are running out of time. Will you help us? The defense grid is being assembled in orbit right now. We need your power system. Modifications to make it work." Lisa looked around the small lobby of her apartment building. These people were asking her to help save the world. 3 weeks ago, she had been worried about paying for textbooks. Now she might be humanity's best hope against alien invasion. "If I help you," Lisa said slowly, "I want the truth about everything. No more lies." You will have full access to all information about the project, Director Walsh promised. Lisa turned to Alex. And you? Will you tell me the truth from now on? I promise, Alex said. About the project, about my feelings, about everything. Lisa took a deep breath. Through her apartment window, she could see the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. Somewhere out there, alien ships were coming to destroy everything she cared about. Her anger at Alex would have to wait. Right now, humanity needed her help. Okay, Lisa said. Let's go save the world. Lisa had never been in space before. The government transport ship carried her and Alex toward the Defense Command Station orbiting Earth. Through the small window, Lisa could see the blue planet below and the black emptiness of space above. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The past 4 days had been the most intense of Lisa's life. She had worked almost without sleep in the underground military base beneath Denver. Teams of engineers and scientists had listened to her explain the quantum power system while they built the modifications as fast as possible. Director Walsh had kept her promise about telling the truth. Lisa now knew everything about the consortium, the 12 worlds they had conquered, and Earth's desperate plan to fight back. The defense grid was humanity's only hope, and Lisa's power improvements were the key to making it work. Alex had barely left her side during those 4 days. He had apologized many times for lying to her, and Lisa was starting to forgive him. She could see that he really did care about her, not just her engineering skills. When she worked late into the night, he brought her food and made sure she got some rest. But there had been no time for personal conversations. The consortium's main fleet had arrived a day early. 60 alien ships now waited at the edge of the solar system, probably studying Earth's defenses before attacking. Military leaders expected the assault to begin within hours. The command station was larger than Lisa had imagined. It hung in space like a small city, covered with communication arrays and weapon platforms. Hundreds of Earth's military ships surrounded it, preparing for the battle that would decide humanity's future. Lisa and Alex were taken to the main command center, a huge room filled with screens and control stations. People in military uniforms moved quickly between the stations, monitoring the approaching alien fleet and coordinating Earth's defenses. Admiral Richard Barnes, a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes, met them at the entrance. Miss Martinez, Mr. Kane, welcome to Command Station Alpha. Are the modifications ready for testing? Yes, sir, Lisa said. The quantum power system should work, but we have never tested it under real battle conditions. We will find out. Soon enough, the Admiral said grimly. Our long-range sensors show the consortium fleet moving toward Earth. They will be in weapons range in 2 hours. Lisa looked at the main display screen, which showed the positions of all ships in the solar system. The Earth forces looked impressive until she saw the alien fleet. The consortium ships were larger and more advanced than anything humanity had built. How many people live on Earth? Lisa asked quietly. 8 billion, Alex answered. And if we fail today, the consortium will either kill them or make them slaves. That is what they did to the other 12 worlds. Lisa felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. 8 billion lives depended on her engineering work. She hoped her calculations were correct. Admiral Barnes led them to a special control station. Miss Martinez, you will monitor the power systems during the battle. If anything goes wrong with the quantum generators, you are the only person who can fix it. What about me? Alex asked. You will coordinate the overall defense grid. From here, the Admiral said. Your tactical software is already loaded into our systems. As the final hour approached, reports came in from around the solar system. The alien fleet had divided into 3 groups. One group was heading straight for Earth. The other 2 were moving toward the Moon and Mars, probably planning to attack human colonies there. All ships, battle stations, Admiral Barnes announced over the communication system. Consortium forces will be in range in 30 minutes. Prepare for engagement. Lisa checked her control panel one more time. The quantum power generators were online and ready. According to her calculations, they would provide 3 times more power than the old systems. But she had never tested them in a real battle. There were always things that could go wrong when theory met reality. Lisa, Alex said, touching her hand gently. Whatever happens today, I want you to know that meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me. Lisa looked into his eyes. Despite everything that had happened, she realized she loved him, too. We're going to win this, she said. Your strategies and my power systems, we make a good team. Enemy fleet entering weapons range, someone announced. On the main screen, Lisa could see the alien ships more clearly now. They were dark and sleek, covered with armor that seemed to absorb light. Energy weapons glowed along their sides. They moved through space with deadly grace. Activate defense grid, Admiral Barnes ordered. Lisa's fingers flew over her control panel, bringing the quantum generators online. The power readings jumped immediately. All around Earth, shield generators and weapon platforms came to life with more energy than they had ever had before. Shield strength at maximum, a technician reported. Power levels holding steady. The first alien attack came like lightning. Beams of energy struck the orbital defense platforms, but the improved shields held. Lisa watched her power readings carefully. The quantum generators were working perfectly, drawing energy from space itself. Return fire, the Admiral ordered. Earth's weapons fired back at the alien ships, but something amazing happened. Instead of the normal energy beams, the weapons fired with incredible power. The quantum generators were not just powering the shields, they were enhancing every system they touched. One of the alien ships exploded when Earth's enhanced weapons hit it, then another. The consortium fleet, which had probably expected an easy victory, suddenly found themselves in a real fight. Power levels increasing beyond normal parameters, a technician called out in excitement. The quantum field is amplifying all our systems. Lisa realized what was happening. Her power system was not just solving the energy problem, it was making human technology more powerful than the aliens expected. The quantum field was boosting their shields, weapons, and engines beyond their original design specifications. All ships advance and engage, Admiral Barnes ordered. The human fleet moved forward with new confidence. Ships that had been designed for defense were now powerful enough to attack. The alien commanders seemed confused by this sudden change in human capabilities. Alex worked at his control station, coordinating the attack patterns. Lisa, can you boost power to the main battle group? They are engaging the largest alien ships. Increasing power flow, Lisa said, adjusting her controls. The quantum generators responded instantly, sending more energy to the ships that needed it most. On the screen, Lisa watched human ships outfight aliens that should have been superior. Her engineering work was turning the tide of battle. But she knew the fight was far from over. The consortium commander seemed to realize that something had changed. The alien fleet regrouped and began using different tactics, trying to overwhelm the human defenses with sheer numbers. More enemy ships detected, someone announced. The consortium is sending reinforcements. Lisa looked at Alex. The real test of their partnership was just beginning. They had proven that humans could fight the aliens as equals. Now they had to prove they could win. The alien reinforcements arrived like a dark cloud spreading across space. Lisa counted 40 more ships on the display screen, bringing the total consortium fleet to nearly 100 vessels. Even with her quantum power improvements, the human forces were badly outnumbered. They are surrounding us, Admiral Barnes said grimly. The new ships are taking positions around Earth. They want to trap our fleet. Lisa watched the tactical display with growing worry. The aliens had learned from their earlier defeats and were now being more careful. Instead of attacking directly, they were using their superior numbers to box in the human ships. Alex, we need a new strategy, Lisa said. The aliens are not going to make the same mistakes twice. Alex studied his control screens, running battle simulations in his head. I have an idea, but it is risky. Lisa, can your quantum generators power an entire fleet jump? A fleet jump? Lisa had read about the theoretical possibility of moving many ships at once using quantum field manipulation, but it had never been tested. That would require enormous amounts of power. Could your system handle it? Lisa ran quick calculations in her mind. The quantum generators were already performing beyond her original design specifications. Maybe, but if I am wrong, we could Lose power to everything. The shields, the weapons, life support, everything would shut down. Admiral Barnes overheard their conversation. What are you two planning? A coordinated jump behind enemy lines, Alex explained. If we can move our entire fleet at once, we could attack the consortium command ships before they can react. That is incredibly dangerous, the Admiral said. Fleet jumping has never been done in combat. Neither has quantum field power generation, Lisa pointed out. But it is working. On the main screen, the alien ships continued to tighten their formation around Earth. Soon the human fleet would be completely surrounded with no room to maneuver. We have to try, Admiral Barnes decided. Miss Martinez, can you prepare the power system for a fleet jump? Lisa's fingers moved quickly over her controls, rerouting power from non-essential systems and preparing the quantum generators for the biggest test they had ever faced. I need 5 minutes to reconfigure everything. While Lisa worked, Alex coordinated with the fleet commanders, explaining the plan and the risks involved. Every captain would have to trust that a young engineering student could safely move their ship across space using untested technology. Power configuration complete, Lisa announced. But Admiral, I have to warn you. If this fails, we will be sitting helpless while the aliens destroy us. And if we do nothing, they will destroy us anyway. Admiral Barnes replied. All ships, prepare for emergency jump. Follow Mr. Kane's coordinates. Lisa took a deep breath and placed her hands on the main power controls. She had spent her whole life dreaming of working on important engineering projects. Now she was about to attempt something that could save or doom humanity. Initiating quantum field manipulation, Lisa said. Jump in 10 seconds. The power readings on her display climbed higher than she had ever seen them. The quantum generators were drawing massive amounts of energy from space itself, more than any human technology had ever handled. 3, 2, 1, jump. Lisa pressed the activation controls. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space around the command station began to shimmer like water. The stars outside the windows stretched into long lines of light. The sensation of jumping was strange and wonderful. Lisa felt like she was being pulled apart and put back together at the same time. The command station and the entire human fleet disappeared from their position near Earth and reappeared behind the main alien formation. Jump successful, someone shouted. All ships reporting normal status. Lisa could hardly believe it had worked. Her power system had just moved hundreds of ships across thousands of kilometers in an instant. The aliens were caught completely by surprise. All ships open fire, Admiral Barnes ordered. The human fleet struck at the heart of the consortium formation. Lisa's enhanced weapon systems tore through alien ships that had not had time to raise their shields. Within minutes, the alien command structure was in chaos. But the victory came with a cost. The massive power drain from the fleet jump had pushed Lisa's quantum generators to their limits. Warning lights flashed on her control panel. We are losing power stability, Lisa reported. The jump used too much energy. The generators are overheating. Can you fix it? Alex asked urgently. Lisa studied the readouts, her mind racing through possible solutions. I can shut down the overloaded generators and reroute power through the backup systems, but we will lose about half our power enhancement. Do it, Admiral Barnes ordered. Lisa worked quickly, shutting down the damaged generators before they could explode and rerouting power through the remaining systems. The enhanced shields and weapons lost some of their boost, but they remained much stronger than the original Earth technology. The battle continued around them. The alien fleet was still larger than the human forces, but they had lost their command. Ships and their formation was broken. Human ships pressed their attack, using their mobility and enhanced firepower to pick off individual alien vessels. The aliens are retreating, a technician announced. The surviving ships are jumping away from Earth. Lisa looked at the display screen in amazement. The dark alien ships were disappearing one by one, fleeing back to wherever they had come from. Humanity had won. Admiral Barnes walked over to Lisa and Alex. Miss Martinez, Mr. Kane, you two just saved our species. I do not know how to thank you. The work is not finished, Lisa said. If the consortium attacked us, they will attack other worlds too. We need to help them. Alex smiled at her. You want to take the fight to the aliens? I want to make sure No other planet suffers what Earth almost suffered today, Lisa said firmly. My quantum power system can make our ships stronger than anything the consortium has. We can free the 12 worlds they conquered. Over the following months, Lisa's prediction proved correct. Earth's enhanced fleet visited each of the conquered worlds, offering freedom to the enslaved populations. The quantum-powered human ships were more than a match for consortium forces, and world after world was liberated. Lisa and Alex worked together as partners in both love and war. They married in a simple ceremony on Earth, then returned to space to continue their mission. Lisa became the chief engineer of the Liberation Fleet, while Alex served as tactical commander. The small apartment where Lisa had once struggled to pay rent was replaced by a laboratory ship where she could design even more advanced technologies. But she kept her old luggage case as a reminder of how her life had changed. Sometimes the most important discoveries came from the most unexpected mistakes. 1 year after the battle for Earth, Lisa stood on the bridge of their flagship, watching as the last consortium stronghold surrendered. Humanity had gone from defending a single world to protecting an entire region of the galaxy. What do you think comes next? Alex asked, putting his arm around her. Lisa looked out at the stars, thinking of all the worlds that still needed protection, all the technologies that still needed to be invented. The universe is big, she said. I think we are just getting started. The girl who had accidentally taken a millionaire's luggage had become the engineer who gave humanity the stars, and the millionaire who had fallen in love with her had found something more valuable than all his wealth, a partner who could change the world.